So after the Season 2 update, we're going to be going over what are the 6 best long-range rifles to use inside Warzone. We'll give you the best class setups and letting you know what are the best guns. If you do enjoy content like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we try to reach our goal of 50k subscribers. Click that link in the description down below and subscribe to our second channel. Now before we get into the list, we do have an assault rifle and LMG TTK spreadsheet that you can actually check out to compare every single weapon. Now we have added the new guns in as well, so we've got the KGM40, we've also got the Whitley on the LMG spreadsheet, which you can check out in the link in the description. The only thing we've not got yet is Vital on the KGM40, but once we do get that, we'll add that to the list. But this way you can compare every single weapon with the chest shot TTKs. Starting off at number 6, we actually have the Grau. Now comparing all of the low recoil guns, the Grau actually stands out still above the rest, and the reason for that is because you're actually getting a good balance of super easy to control recoil, but you're also going to get a pretty solid TTK as well. If you compare this to the new KGM40 assault rifle, it actually has a little bit more recoil than that gun, but which means that gun has pretty much zero recoil to begin with, but it also means that this kills a little bit quicker as well, and it's still a really solid gun to use overall. So I do think the Grau, in terms of low recoil and for a gun that probably everyone has by now, the Grau is just an amazing option. So this is the standard build: mono suppressor, Archangel barrel, VLK optic, 60 round mags, commando foregrip. You can use the iron sights on this gun if you like as well, and swap that out for the tac laser. That's going to be personal preference. It's completely up to yourself how you want to build it. At number 5, you've got the STG, and the STG is a solid gun. It did get a bit of a nerf to its recoil with the most recent update. If you check out the patch notes, we do have a whole video if you want to check that out, going over the patch notes. But if you do build this correctly, you can still get this gun to be super low recoil because they've basically spread out all the recoil controlling attachments. They've added bullet velocity to certain attachments as well that didn't have it previously, so they've kind of just made the gun overall more balanced, doesn't matter which way you build it. But the build for this kind of stays the same. So previously I was using the Mercury silencer, but you need to use the MX silencer now because it actually helps with vertical and horizontal recoil. It slows down your ADS, which is the only annoying thing because you will get a bit of a slower ADS than before. So that is just something you need to keep in mind. When it comes to the barrel, it's a 760mm. This is the best barrel for the STG. It doesn't give you any bullet velocity, which some of the other ones might give you, but this one is going to reduce your body damage, which is not what you want to do at all. Then the G16 optic, or whatever optic you like, the precision stock, and that is going to help you with the horizontal recoil as well as giving you a slightly faster ADS time, so this will help out a little bit. You could also go for the weighted stock as well. That's going to help a bit more with the recoil overall and flinch resistance. When it comes to perk, you have to use Vital for this gun. It's the only way you need to build it, especially if you are using the 60 round mags. Fully loaded, polymer grip as always. It did get a bit of a nerf, but it's still probably the best rear grip to use. Like I said, 60 round mags, lengthened, even though it doesn't help as much with bullet velocity. For a long range rifle, you still need as much bullet velocity as you can get, and considering the barrel's not helping, you might as well use lengthened. And then lastly, you want to use the M1 hand stop under barrel. Now this gun is not the lowest recoil in the game, but if you do like the Vanguard weapons, the STG is definitely better than the Cooper carbine because it actually kills a lot quicker. At number 4, we have probably what is the best long-range rifle in the game, and you're going to be wondering why it's at number 4. So I'll give you the answer to that first, which is the movement is just not great with LMGs, and as much as I love to try and use LMGs when I can and use them as assault rifles, I feel like I'm always better, even though the assault rifle has a little bit more recoil or does a little bit less damage or whatever it is. I feel like I just want that movement speed back, and that's just me personally, so that's why I have this slightly further down on the list. But if you're looking for what is like the most beamy gun in the game, it's going to output a ton of damage, then the Bren is still the absolute best gun in the game for that. And it's not really changed too much. It doesn't hit as hard as before, and that's because the extremities damage was brought down a little bit, but it's still gonna shoot straight. It's got no recoil and it's a solid gun. So the MX silencer is what you want to be using now, so for the vertical horizontal recoil control. Royal barrel, again, this is going to be the best one. It helps with recoil, gives you bullet velocity, gives you damage range. The G16 optic, Hawkinson stock is actually the best stock when it comes to this gun because it helps with the sustained fire accuracy. Tight grip, again, helps with sustained fire accuracy. You don't want to use brace, that's actually broken. Plus it's not really going to help in this situation. Anyway, fully loaded, polymer grip once again as usual, Sakura mags, or you can use the British mags as well. Both are really good options. I would probably recommend more towards the British mags now, even though it will make you a bit slower, and that is because it doesn't con your damage, and especially with the other damage changes to this gun, you're probably better off with the British mags. Plus you get 100 rounds, which is absolutely insane. Lengthened just for even better bullet velocity, but LMGs already have really good bullet velocity, so you could actually use hollow point in this case and bring up that limb damage again. But in my opinion, I'd still go for lengthened just because it is a long range rifle. You want to make sure you're hitting those shots. M1 hand stop once again. At number 3, we actually have a Cold War rifle, and I do think the Cold War rifles are probably the best in the game at the moment, especially for long range. So if you are looking for long range options, the Cold War guns are probably the best. And at number 3, we have the C58. Now this did get a bit of a nerf to its recoil, and that's what they stated in the patch notes, but this gun feels pretty much exactly the same. And sometimes when it's like that, they haven't actually adjusted the recoil in the gun, even though they have stated it. So that's happened a couple of times previously. So even though it probably stated in the patch notes that they've adjusted the recoil in the C58, it's probably exactly the same, and they've not actually touched it just yet, and they'll go back in and make a slight adjustment to it in the future. So for now, the C58 is an absolutely solid gun still. Whether they've changed it or not, it still feels pretty much exactly the same. So agency suppressor, task force barrel, axial 3x optic. The 45 round drum for me is more than enough, but if you do need more, the 55 round drums is probably where you want to go, and then the field agent under barrel grip, and that is the best build for the C58. Super low recoil, outputs a ton of damage, very good option. At number 2, we have probably what is going to be the most popular gun in the game right now, in my opinion. I think everyone's going to be moving towards what the number 2 gun is, which is the XM4. Now the reason why I have it at number 2 is because it doesn't kill the absolute fastest out of any of the Cold War or even Modern Warfare or even the Vanguard guns, but it's definitely going to kill relatively quickly. You're going to pretty much land every single shot because it has got pretty much non-existent recoil, and it is a very easy gun to use overall, and you can build it as a sniper support as well because it is a very versatile gun. So we've got the XM4 right here with the agency suppressor, which is going to give you that bullet velocity and damage range, the task force barrel, which is going to give you the bullet velocity, the damage range as well, and it's going to help control the recoil, axial 3x optic once again, 60 round mags. You can go for the 45, I've seen some people use this, but I feel like the 60 is definitely where you want to be going with this. And then we've got the field agent under barrel grip once again. This is going to be probably the most popular gun in the game for season 2. At number 1, we have my personal favorite gun, and like I said, it's not probably going to be the most popular out of the bunch, but it definitely overall feels the best to me. In terms of recoil, it's got a little bit more recoil than the other 2 guns that we mentioned from Cold War, so the C58 and XM4, but it does hit a lot harder than both of those weapons. So if you can control the recoil on this gun, then the Cold War AK is an absolute solid gun to use inside Warzone at the moment. You want to use the GRU suppressor once again for the recoil control, bullet velocity, damage range. You want to use the Spetsnaz RPK barrel for the recoil control and bullet velocity. Axial 3x optic once again, 45 round mags, because I don't really think you need the 60, but if you do think you need the 60, then you've got the option there. And then the Spetsnaz grip. Now this gun is absolutely solid inside Warzone. You're going to be melting people super quick, and I feel like that is what the Vanguard guns are kind of missing, even though they all have no recoil pretty much, because you can get them built in that way. I do think that they don't hit quite as hard as what we used to get with some of the Cold War weapons, or even some of the Modern Warfare guns like the AMAX, for example, which is also another really good option. But I do think the Cold War guns are going to be the meta when it comes into season 2. So there we have it. Those are the best 6 long range guns inside Warzone at the moment. If you've tried out any other guns that you think should make the list for season 2, let me know down in the comments below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we try to reach our goal of 50k subscribers. We'll be making a video on the close range weapons as well. And thank you very much for watching.